So the water table has gone down a lot, and they're going, is that going to get replenished? Well, maybe
It's way
not.
deep.
Yeah, it's way deep. They're having to go deeper, and it keeps going deeper because they're
How far
sucking the
deep
water
can they
out of it.
go?
I don't know.
I mean, when they start pulling up lava, you've probably gone
you
too
go.
deep.
Oh, okay, that's deep
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, yeah.
That's
When the
hot
water's,
water. Oh,
yeah,
good.
when the
Hot
water's,
water today.
yeah, perfect.
Leave your rose-colored glasses at the door. It's time for Carl and Mike.
Welcome. It's Carl Mike. I'm Carl.
And I'm Michael. Well, we go by Mike. That's
Yeah.
my stage name.
We should have stage names.
Huh?
Of course, I have LaFlame as a last name. Really, do I need a stage name?
Is it
after
La
that?
Flame or is it La Flamme?
It depends on my mood.
Really?
Yes.
If you're trying to be uppity, it's La Flamme?
Yeah. If I'm trying to be with the elites, Michael.
Yeah.
If I'm hanging with the elites,
Yeah.
it's LaFlamme.
Huh.
Here at Carl Mike, LaFlame, the fire.
The fire. The fire. Oh, the fire.
And Carl means man. So I'm a light to man, Michael.
Ooh. Light to man? Is that what that means?
Carl means man.
It does? Man
Flame
on
means
fire?
fire. Man on fire.
Man on-
Burning Man. Speaking of, you ever been to Burning Man? It's going on, I think, right now, or about to. I got to go to Burning Man.
You know, Abby went to Burning Man.
Did she?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like a carnival of weirdness.
Yes, it's a carnival of weirdness, and what she said, one of the things she said is, best thing to do is to rent a Winnebago.
Yeah, you need an RV.
Well, you need someplace to get away from the sand when it starts blowing, because
Blowing
that's
sand?
not good. Huh? Oh,
Yeah, that
well,
would
it's
not-
out in the middle of east. I mean, nothing, and so they get some serious sandstorms going. In fact, there was a bug storm that went through just last week, just a bunch of bugs. But yeah, Burning Man would be cool.
We should have Carl Mike from Burning Man. That would be a whole year's worth of episodes.
Oh my God. Yeah, I just.
See, we can write this stuff off. Of course, at some point, the IRS is going to want to see some money. But you can be unprofitable for like a couple of years. Like you got to make money like
Who's
3 out
gotta
of
make
5
money?
years.
Who says
to
who?
be to keep writing the tax write-offs?
Oh, you do?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
something like that. If any accountant out there is out listening, please lighten me. But I think you got to be profitable out of 3 out of 5 years. So that means you can be unprofitable for a couple of years, and we're only in 10 months. So we could go to Burning Man, rent the RV, and write everything off on our tax.
See, now wonder, is Burning Man an entity or is it a nonprofit? Is Burning Man a religion?
There you go.
Oh.
It is for some people.
Church once a year.
There you go.
I like
My
that.
kind of church.
That is good.
Yeah.
Just one big blowout party once a year.
Yeah. Some would say it's the Church of Satan, Michael. I gotta work on my church lady.
Maybe.
Who could it be? Who could it be? Bring me to Burning Man. Satan?
There's something very cool about that it's been going on for a long
Well,
time.
it's the ultimate people watching
Yeah.
experience. And a chance for you to be wild and free. I don't know. What would you do in Burning Man?
But it seemed like I read an article somewhere that there's a group of people trying to do VIP areas. You know, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
really? VIP
The whole
areas.
idea of
It's gonna
Burning
get
Man is
commercialized.
anti-VIP. You know, there should be no VIP
Yes.
at Burning Man. I'm sorry. There's no boxes.
Box
And,
seats.
you know, no, and limos. In fact, I would like to see them try that. They would get shouted down, I would imagine. What do you think?
I don't know. I've never been to Burning Man.
I haven't
But it
been,
should-
but
it should
I've
be on
seen,
the bucket
seen
list.
the pictures. Yeah.
Do you have a bucket list?
Do I have a bucket list? Yeah, I have some things that I would like to do and places I'd like to see. I really
Yeah.
do. And in fact, man, one of my new passions, I can't believe. I'm just, buzzing through the cable. We're actually, I think, going to cut the cord and try it.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think
Michael.
we're
Well, the
my
new Apple
daughter's-
TV's coming out.
Well, the Apple TV, but also that Fire Stick or whatever that is.
Amazon Fire Stick?
Yeah, my daughter's using that right now, and
Right.
Zoe's going to start using it too. And so we're going to watch what they do, and then we're going to go over and look at it, set up, play with it, and see how we like it. But anyway, this channel, I was sitting there flicking through, all the news channels, and there's this one channel that's, it's a news program from Japan. It's Japanese news.
Yeah.
But it's a whole all Japanese channel, and the news is really well presented. And then what they have is they have programs about Japan where they go to different places in Japan to show stuff. There's one.
Is it English subtitled?
Oh yeah. Well, where needed, yeah. But it's mainly for an English audience. So, but there's this one thing, this temple, that once a year, what they do around this time of year, and they take all these objects, these religious relics or whatever it is, and they box them up and select individuals, take them at the end of the day, a specific day, they walk up to the top of this mountain and put them in a shrine that's up there, and they stay up there for a certain period of time. Then there's a bunch of pilgrims that form down at the bottom and then walk up. And you walk up at night and you arrive before sunrise, and then there's this incredible sunrise at the top of this mountain. And then
So you walk the mountain all night
yeah.
to get there by sunrise?
Yeah, and then you pay homage to the deities and drop off a prayer in the box and then go home. I don't know what it is, but it was real interesting. And I'm thinking, I cannot think of anything that's even remotely like that in the U.S. That pilgrimage walk that they have in Europe.
Europe.
What is that called? There was a movie about that.
I don't know.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Doing that,
yeah, that would be very cool. That takes months.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on where you drop off, but that looked like a very cool thing. But there's nothing really like that
In
here.
the States?
Yeah.
Appalachian Trail?
Well, but those are trails. There's the Appalachian Trail, and then there's the Continental Divide, and I think there's something in California too. There are trails that you can take and walk, north to south or vice versa. But there's no reason for it other than just doing
We're a
it.
newer country, I think. I think we're a newer country.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that I like about that is I like the heritage that, in fact, I need to call Tichy and talk to him about it.
You like so you're into this Japanese channel.
Well, yeah, I've always, getting to know Tichy and Gloria when we lived out in Los Angeles, got a little more immersed in that culture than I've ever been living in Dallas,
Yeah.
And the closest I ever got to Japan in Dallas when I was growing up is turning over the toys and it said "Made in Japan." That's it, And
You don't see that as much anymore. It's
No.
all made in China now.
yeah, so there's things like that about Japan that they show, or they go to little out of the way places, beautifully shot. They had a deal last night we watched on kimonos that was just incredible. It was pretty cool.
Well, I've been getting into, which I think from your recommendation, Mr. Robot. I've done about the first 4 episodes of Mr. Robot.
See, you're farther along than we are, I think.
You haven't done 4 episodes?
I don't think so, so don't say anything.
I lost Suzanne on episode 4.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. It's too dark.
Too dark?
Yeah.
Oh, you can get darker than that.
Darker than Mr. Robot?
Yeah, Horror Story 4.
Horror Story? I haven't watched that.
It is on a par with True Detective first year.
Yeah, because True Detective second year, not very good.
No, it's really not doing it for you. But
I finished
how
it.
do you
I'm done.
how do you get past McConaughey and Harrelson in Louisiana hoodoo backwoods kind of fucked up shit, cracker stuff?
How do you pop
get
that one?
I don't know.
No, they
I
didn't.
tell you how. Horror Story 4th year, the freak thing.
Yeah.
Oh God.
You see, you're shaking.
Huh?
You're shivered.
I had we just watch it and we think it couldn't get worse or get more sick and twisted, and it did.
I don't know. I have mixed emotions about Sick and Twisted. I'll do Sick and Twisted if it's really well written.
Oh, this is well written. Not only is it well written, it's well shot and beautifully acted.
Yeah, but it's so dark.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I have to think about that.
And all the dark stuff happens in Louisiana. Now, why is that? What is it's going down there in the swamps with all the hoodoo and the
You got
witch doctors and,
yeah. Now, do you worry that taking in... So Suzanne's point is taking in that darkness is just not good for your soul.
No, I don't think about that. I think of it as entertainment and kind of weird, sick, twisted shit. There's some stuff in...
there's that, yeah.
Like True Detective, they were always finding those little wooden things that were like tied together. I would really like to do one of those in my backyard. Now that may be like Suzanne was saying, she probably wouldn't want to wake up in the middle of the night and on a full moon see one of those deals kind of glistening.
Yeah.
That might be a little...
See, my take on it is if something's well written, I don't, the subject matter is really, whether it be Parenthood or Mr. Robot, there's good writing there.
Yeah, but
I
you
don't
could-
really care if it's G-rated, X-rated.
Would you say that Apocalypse Now, because that was a beautiful movie, I mean,
Yeah.
a great movie, and it was well
Yeah.
written, would that like mess her up too? I mean, because there was some
No, I mean, 'cause
weird
she
shit
watched
there
Sopranos.
with huh?
She watched Sopranos.
Yeah.
I think it's. I think for her it comes down
It's
to
the
character.
supernatural stuff. You think that?
No, it comes down to character. Does she have a character to root for? Does she have a character that's good? And today TV writing has changed. You know, you could argue Breaking Bad and some of these shows, even Sopranos, the hero was the anti-hero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, we
and
have
that was
the-
never.
yeah.
We were used to Father Knows Best. I mean, even Mannix or
Mm-hmm.
you name a show, the hero was on the side of good.
Yeah.
You know, now it's much more ambiguous or even flipped. But if she don't have somebody she can root for, and a well-written show now shows the complexities of characters.
Yeah.
So they have good, like Mr. Robot, the kid,
Yeah.
has an element of good, but it's all covered under.
Yeah, but he's a weird-looking little
He is
fucker.
a weird little guy. Oh, that's really excellent casting.
Yeah.
Can I go
just
ahead and
kind
say
of
that?
go. Oh yes.
Anyway, Mr. Robot, I recommend it. Though I do find it does go sometimes the writing is not as good, and I don't know where they're going to take it and how they're going to sustain it. But
Or you just
there's
have to-
moments of really brilliant writing.
Yeah, you just have to enjoy the weirdness for what it is, and
Yes.
move on down the road.
Move on down the road. Speaking of weird, if you're into weirdness, then you have the whole political scene.
Yeah.
It's really gone into weirdness. The whole thing is very weird.
Yeah. What's interesting now is
Hillary
watching
could be-
everybody flip over and going, yeah, he can do it.
Yes,
He
which
can-
we
he-
talked about last week.
Yeah.
Free balling with
Yeah.
Trump. I don't know if he still could do it. The thing is, there's 17 candidates. Okay, when there's down to two, there's gonna be
Yeah.
down at some point. There's gonna be down to two.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Does
he-
Trump have a wide enough reach that if they all coalesce around Scott Walker or whoever they coalesce around as the
But see,
alternative?
here's my take on that. I think these people that are coming to see Trump, at least the ones that I've watched in the audience,
Yeah.
they are excited, true believer, kind of love watching him, love being in his presence. Part of that is the star thing, the reality star bullshit.
Right.
But they're real fervent. You know, they get fired up. Now,
Yes, but are there enough of them?
let's say the powers that be in the Republican Party decide or are able, and I'm not convinced they're able to pull the plug out from under Trump. They're also pulling the rug out from under all those people. And are those people then going to be
No,
pissed
they're
off?
gonna. I'm saying the candidate field is gonna window down. So
Oh.
you know, Scott Walker's out, or you know, Rubio's out, or Chris Christie's out. Where do these people go? Do they go to Trump? Is the question, or do they go? You know, how big? You know, that's how John McCain won, right? John McCain
Pick it
became
up.
the establishment candidate, and you had like 3 or 4 evangelical candidates. The evangelicals could have won that, but they didn't coalesce around one guy, right?
Yeah.
They coalesced around Santorum or Huckabee or what have you, and so he was able to pick up delegates because he was one establishment versus 3 evangelicals.
Yeah, but they were still kind of
Right.
establishment too. They were establishment evangelicals.
Well, I
but
don't
they
know.
were
Huckabee
still
wasn't. I
estab-
mean, Huckabee was the first time running. But what I'm saying is, if McCain would have been just against Huckabee in the early states, or just one evangelical, Huckabee would have cleaned up.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he still won a few states. If he would have just had all the evangelical vote, he would have cleaned
Yeah.
up. The thing about Trump is he kind of right now he's beating Bush against moderates. He's beating evangelicals against Huckabee. He's beating
Yeah.
Tea Party against Cruz.
Yeah. It is, and
So
part
he's
of-
beating them in their own category. That's what makes him very unique.
he has a charisma that the rest of them don't have. Period. I mean, he's a dick, but he's got charisma, and so he's got that going on. But I think the rest of them are tired of. They've lost faith in the establishments, lost faith in the
Well, look at their-
institutions.
look at their-
Okay, they've lost faith in their own political institutions, the government institutions, the business and church institutions. And Huckabee and some of these other ones that are the evangelicals, they still represent a certain level of establishment.
So it's just anti-establishment. But
Abso-
Trump's a billionaire.
absolutely.
He's in the business establishment.
No, he truly is outside the political sphere.
Here's what Trump's doing. I think the phenomenon of Trump Republicans delivered Romney last time. Okay, nobody wanted Romney. He could barely get through the primaries.
Yeah.
And they delivered McCain before that. I think the Republican or those leaning Republican are like, we tried it your way these last 10. We are not going there. We are not going establishment. We are not going Jeb Bush. We're not going down that road.
If they try and do a religious firebrand, they'll turn off a lot of the public.
And they know that. There's a part of that knows that.
Yeah,
that's why Huckabee's losing to Trump.
And that's why
There's a
Ted
bunch
Cruz
of
is not going to
evangelicals.
work.
Right.
Ted
That
Cruz
doesn't
is not gonna
work in the end.
No, it's not. You can make a few people happy, but they're not. That's not going to.
They get
work.
trounced in a general.
Yeah.
I mean, in a very big way.
But there's something about Trump that appeals to people. I mean, he talks about family values, and somebody nails him on three marriages, and he goes,
Those were all wonderful women.
They're all wonderful women.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know he said that.
Yeah.
And I could
No,
say that.
Yeah.
I can channel Trump.
Yeah. They're great women.
Yeah,
Great.
because they're getting on the immigration, because they were also immigrants.
Yeah. So
Ivana.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It just.
So you don't seem as excited about Trump as you were last week. You were into the Trump vortex.
I love watching him. I love listening to his bullshit. I watched the crowds.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing that missed on that stadium needed a little thunder and lightning from God and maybe some rain where they all get wet. And that would have been perfect. You know what that would have been? That would have been a baptism. He could have sold that as a baptism of the true believers in Mobile and run that fucker all over the country. I mean, seriously. I don't know.
I will say things like what's happening with the stock market right now help Trump as well. If things get economically funky, the idea of a billionaire businessman is going to have some appeal.
Yeah. And he can still say, I'm a billionaire businessman and I still have money, but I can feel your pain because I've lost, $563 million over the last week. Sure, it's more than what you've lost, but I'm losing. We're in the same boat. I'm losing money, you're losing money. See? But here's what we're going to do about it. I can fix that shit.
That's the problem, Michael. You're a little smarter than Trump. So you're thinking that he's going to...
I think he's smart.
No, I mean...
Yeah, I think he is.
Well, he's smart and he's a buffoon at the same time.
Oh, no, you can...
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a weird combination.
That's why
Because
people
what's coming out of his mouth is really, like we said last week, speaking to your malls, and it doesn't really say anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to build a great wall. Trump walls are the best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just goofy shit.
And I want it to be good because, hey, my name may be on it. Hey. But I love this where he opens his arms out and goes, hey. It's like a Tony Soprano's, hey, what do you know?
It's like Tony Soprano running.
Yeah, it is.
I could see Trump in his past has knocked somebody off.
Yeah.
Made the call. He could do that. I think we are caught up in the theater of Trump. I do wonder if there is a ceiling to that. We're not giving people enough credit. For every Trump follower, there's a Bernie Sanders follower. There's people out there like you and me.
Yeah, but
there's
for every person that watches Bill Maher, there's 10 that watch Honey Boo Boo and Duck Dynasty.
So you're saying the country is not as bright as I would like to believe.
Yeah. Hen session.
There is. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to get in trouble there. I got to say, Susan in California wanted us to talk about the drought out there. Have you heard about that shit?
Oh, yeah.
And one of the articles she sent, and then I read a couple more about how out in the valley where they grow all the stuff that we eat in our grocery stores, the ground is shrinking. It's sinking because they're
sinking.
Well,
how much is it sinking?
Inches,
like
a
in
lot.
The summer?
Enough that satellites are registering it. No, just in general, it's going down.
Because the water table?
Yes, the water. They're sucking the water that they're not getting in rain. They're sucking out of the ground.
Right.
Okay.
And
because
that causes problems.
Oh, well, it creates it
Sinkholes?
voids. So the water table has gone down a lot, and they're going. Is that going to get replenished? Well, maybe
It's
not.
way deep.
Yeah, it's way deep. They're having to go deeper, and it keeps going deeper because they're
How far
sucking the
deep
water
can they
out of
go?
it. I don't know.
I mean, when they start pulling up lava, you
Yeah,
probably got
you
too
go.
deep.
Okay, that's deep
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, yeah. When the
hot
water's,
water. Oh,
yeah,
good.
when the
Hot
water's,
water today.
yeah, perfect. And it's got kind of a sulfur taste to it. I don't know about that.
Hey, get a Brita filter.
The Brita filter. Yeah. can you get that magma out of there with that Brugger filter?
Yeah. Takes out lead and magma.
Yeah.
It's the
There'll be-
new.
Yes, there'll be somebody in California
Yeah,
that'll
we'll
market
come up with that,
But
yes.
anyway, what's happening is the state of California keeps real tight track on the water people pump out of the reservoirs and out of the rivers and stuff
Right.
like that. But they do not require the farmers and everybody that's pumping out of the ground to say how much they pumped out of the ground. So it's like
It's the Wild West.
It's the Wild West. You
Well,
can
we're
pump
gonna
as
have to
much
change
as you
that
need to
rule.
get those almond trees growing. Yeah, well,
And have to
yeah.
so here's the deal. In climate change, because we are in the era of climate change.
No, we're not, Carl.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can you prove that?
I can't say global
Can you
warming.
prove that?
Yeah.
Can you prove that?
So number one thing California's going to have to do. Can I just fix California here? So number one thing California's going to have to do is take a look at their whole water laws.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, take a look at what crops that they want to grow.
Yeah.
Because almond tree is probably not the smartest thing to do
No.
in a country.
No.
Really, California is a country.
Yeah.
Just about. So stop growing the almond trees.
Yeah.
So you have to grow somewhere else.
Yeah. Grow it in an environment that's more suited for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that much about growing almonds, but if they take a lot of water, then they don't grow.
Yeah.
Three, you got to do a real inventory on being water smart. It's more than just doing the lawns. It's looking at where's the water being wasted.
Yeah.
Where's the water being dumped that can't be recycled and things like that. But
Well-
they gotta, they don't have a lot of time.
No, they don't. I think they're doing a good job of conserving some in some places, but when it comes to growing the food out in the valley, it's going to suck it dry. And then when it's gone, it's gone. Where's that going to go? We're going to start growing that shit in Kansas or something? Don't think so.
I do think what's going to happen is you're going to get you're going to grow a lot of stuff. What do they call it when they grow it in the air?
You're not talking hydroponic.
Yeah,
is
hydroponic
well,
and
it's
things like that.
Yeah.
You're going to do a lot of high-tech growing.
Well, you probably will. You're going to wind up having to do that. Either
right?
that, or you have to be real smart.
You're going to have gardens
or
on
you have-
every building.
Or you have to be smart about what you grow where and when.
Right.
Because that's not what California is. When you're growing shit in the desert that shouldn't be grown in the desert, that's fucked up. You grow it where
Are they
it's
growing
supposed
in
to.
the desert, though?
Oh,
doesn't
it's not.
California have a fertile area? I mean, they're very fertile.
It's fertile, but it's still. California is not like Colorado. I mean, there's certain areas of it are, but it's a lot more arid than that. I mean, some of the valley, they've got good lands in there, but they're obviously having problems with water.
Right.
And you can only grow so much, so it's time to push that stuff other places.
And I tell you, they're going to have to be real good at catching that water when it does rain.
Yeah. Well, another thing that bothered me when we lived out there, they have this huge aqueduct that comes from the north all the way to the south. I mean, it's a concrete aqueduct. It's huge.
Right.
But it's open. How much water is lost from evaporation as it comes the full length of the state? Probably a shitload.
Well, what do you want to do? Cover it?
Put a top on it.
Well, then the rain's
Something.
going to land on the top.
Huh?
The rain's going to land on the top.
No. It's not meant to catch rain. This is water that comes from the mountains and stuff and reservoirs up enough that pumps
Cover
down.
the aqueduct.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, you could do stuff.
It's
I saw they put a
it's
bunch of
Chinatown
balls,
shit.
over the water.
Yes.
What was that?
I saw that article too, and I thought that was real interesting. They're trying all kinds of things. What that does is that shades the water.
Right.
And
Stops the
it
evaporation.
stops the evaporation, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I guess what happens is, I don't know. Let me think about this. If water, when it evaporates, it goes up, and if it goes up and hits a ball and sticks to the ball, then it's going to drip back down into the deal. I don't know. I don't know. It's the first time I read that. I'm just winging it on
Well,
that.
they're dark balls, too, so
Yeah,
dark kind of sucks in the sun, I thought.
I don't know.
Wouldn't they want to be white balls
I don't know.
to reflect the sun?
Maybe blue balls. Maybe they're blue balls. Anyway, I don't know, but they're trying different kind of stuff, and so you got to believe that's an indication that things are not good in River City,
Yes.
folks. you may not live in California, but you believe me, you eat California food, and this is not a good thing.
Well, it's a little disturbing that the water table's now causing the land to sink.
The water tables are what we can't see, and so everybody's ignoring
And
that
how
because
does
they
that, would
can't
that
see
affect
that.
possible earthquakes?
Huh?
Would that affect the possible earthquakes?
Well, it could. I mean, it's
Putting
creating
pressure?
it's creating voids that weren't there before.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I mean, if you look at like Lake Powell and some of the big reservoirs out in California in the West, and you see this bathtub, what they call this bathtub ring around it,
Right.
you realize exactly how much water's been sucked out of there.
Right. So I just heard today a piece of land off of Greenland with what the size of Manhattan fell off yesterday. That's a big freaking piece of land.
Just kind of chunks off.
It just chunked off. But the other thing they said about Greenland is underneath that ice is a bunch of methane gas that could kill us. So there's all sorts of bad stuff.
So there's cow farts under the ice.
I don't know. There's methane gas,
Yeah.
and that gets released, and then we all die. There's
Yeah.
so many ways to die with climate change.
Yeah.
You know, so the ice melts in Greenland, and the methane gas kills us,
Yeah.
or all our coastal towns are flooded, or the temperature just rises and we just bake. Somebody said there was the temperature reached 165 in the Mideast somewhere.
You know.
165. You cook a turkey at 165
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah.
It might take a little longer
Yeah,
than
but it's-
320.
yeah.
But you cook a turkey at 165.
Just stick it outside, let it go. Wrap it in some foil.
Easy
and
bake oven.
Come back in about 5 hours, and it's done.
Yeah. Oh. So when do you think the Committee on Science, which is run by the Republicans, and all of them
Yeah.
don't believe in climate change,
Yeah.
right? How much longer do you think that goes on?
That's a real good question.
When do Republicans get behind the climate change thing? Do they stay tribal all the way to the end? Because we really need everybody on board for the climate change.
Yeah.
The argument, they slightly changed the argument. It's like, well, we're not against climate change. We're fighting about what you do about it. But
I don't know.
Don't you think to battle climate change, we're going to need everybody on board?
Well, you could get everybody on board in the United States, and that would help. But if China is still spewing out the shit that they're spewing
You would
out
think
because they
China,
want
with everybody having to wear masks and shit, that they would be on board.
yeah, they're used to it now.
Is that what happens?
Yeah.
You just get used to it.
That's normal for them, so they don't think they don't know what the big deal is.
And this is a real opportunity here in the States. Because China's got this problem, and they don't create apps, they copy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they need some good old American ingenuity to fix these problems, because they're not going to come up with the ideas.
No, they're not.
They aren't.
But you,
And we aren't living in it, so believe me, if we were having the pollution that China was having in Beijing, if we were having that in New York, there'd be an app.
yeah. Well, when
They would create something.
when those pollution clouds somehow coalesce and
Clouds.
settle on
Yeah.
Seattle or something,
Yeah.
it's like there'll be
Is it
something.
going to take that?
You probably.
I don't know. I mean, it's like each tribe has their own fear, right? Republicans, they have the fear of it coming for our guns. On the Democrat side, it seems like climate change, It's so are Republicans looking at climate change people like we look at people who think they're going to come for their guns? Like we're crazy?
Probably. Yeah. It's a Hispanic standoff.
Hispanic standoff?
Well, Mexican standoff.
Okay.
No, I think it is. It's that fear-based.
So we should be a fear
thinking.
of the climate change? Do you think that's real? Do you think it's
Huh?
something to be concerned about?
Oh yeah. Climate change? Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So what do you think we should do about it?
What do we?
What will we do in a Carl and Mike administration?
What will we do?
We didn't really talk about that on our damnthatmakessense.com platform for
Well,
America.
I think first off, we round up who are all the serious deniers, and put them up on a stage and say these are the people, these are the scientists that they say that are doing this. Give them a chance to speak and do an Ashley Madison dump on them.
Ashley Madison dump on the climate deniers.
Yeah.
You're going to see where the money is.
Yeah,
Follow the money.
yeah,
well,
follow
we
the
already
money.
know where the money's going to go.
Just follow.
It's going to go to the Exxons.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why aren't the Exxons of the world? Why don't they quit thinking of themselves as an oil company and start thinking of themselves as an energy
Got too
company?
much money invested in it, man.
They're
Too
an
much
energy
money
company.
invested
They're
in
not
it.
an oil company.
No, they get too much money invested.
That's,
in
you
it.
see, that's
Yeah, too
you're
much
going to
money.
be that's how companies die. It's like when the cars came, There was whoever was, I don't know, because I wasn't living back then, but there had to be some big horse company. Mm-hmm. Okay? There had to be some that sold horses and, a conglomerate of horses, right? That horse company shouldn't have thought of themselves as a horse company. They should have thought of themselves as a transportation company. And so when cars came in, they would have been first, instead of fighting cars, they'd be first on the line.
Yeah.
Exxon
Well,
should be
there
first
were
on the
people
line.
that used to make wagons out of wood, and instead of bitching about they're not going to be able to use my wagons, they started making wagons or things out of steel
Yeah.
and put a little motor on it, and they were off to the races. I think
But
that
there's
they'll
money
be
in
left
adapting.
in the
That's
dust.
the point I'm trying to make, America. There's money in adapting.
There is money in adapting, but there's also big risk in that, and I think most of the people don't want to do the risk. The market doesn't want them to make the risk.
Yeah.
The market does not like risk like that. They do not want that. They want sameness. They want predictability. And there's nothing predictable
When you say
about
market,
an
you're talking about
Elon
shareholders.
Musk kind of a thing. Huh?
You're talking about shareholders.
Well,
That's
the
the
market
market.
says shareholders. What they when the market says shareholders, don't think about your neighbors on both sides. Think about the 1% that controls the shit.
Those are the big shareholders.
Those are the big shareholders, the money men. They're not worried about all the little 401ks. And
No, but
the
isn't the
individual-
market made up of a lot of pensions?
Oh, sure, yeah, that's the bullshit that goes into that. But the people that make up those little pieces do
You don't
not
think
have
the
a voice
California
of it.
Teachers Union pension is a big money maker?
It's a big money
piece
maker.
of money
It's
in
a
the
big
market?
piece of it is absolutely.
So they're not
Absolutely.
going to want to take market risk.
No, because they're talking about people that are
People's
going to be
pensions.
retiring in 30 or 40 years, and those people are going to want their money. And so, yeah, they're going to want to be real conservative. They're going to want to be real conservative. So, yeah, it's kind of a thing we're caught in, and I don't know how you get out of it. Global financial collapse, world wars, some sort of huge catastrophe, the Yellowstone caldera blows, something that goes, whoa.
So you're saying we need catastrophes to make it work? I would like to be able to not be reactive all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, no, I think that's just the nature of the beast.
Okay.
All right.
Let's wrap it up. All right. Check out Carl and Mike, carlmike.net. We've got everything there. Of course, we are still exploring that run for president. Go to damnthatmakessense.com for the latest news about our platform for America. And I support carlmike.net to support this podcast. See you next time.
And y'all keep talking out there.
Peace.
Out.